danger, and the government is not exactly, you know, the old story of the X-Files, of the aliens are not the bad guys, the government is. I have a lot of qualms of conscience, a lot of qualms of some of the things I've done. But I have never, well, let's say, I've never met an alien I didn't like. And I think that was a unique, that plus the experiences I had as a child. And suddenly, at 9 years old, trying to prove a relationship between viruses and the inducement of epithelioma in white mice was not typically somebody 9 years old is going to do. I first started testing a light beam, modulated light beam transmitter, which my brother did see me do and vectored in UFOs. And the way to do it was to tell them, ask them very kindly, would they do certain maneuvers to prove that they were receiving the message. And then my brother does substantiate that. We also lived in a garden apartment that was next to a forest. And my brother saw several times my walking into the forest saying, I'm going into the house. I don't recall that, but after years I began to remember there was a clearing and that they did come in very low and did land in that forested area. My brother even saw them, so he does support my contentions. My sister, unfortunately, is mentally ill, and I haven't spoken to my sister. We're 10 years apart. I'm 56 and she is 46 and still needing to be supported. Tragically, I'm very sad about her. But she has given some disinformation to people who used it rather than call my brother, who's only 2 years younger than I, and knew that we were getting visits from rather strange people, and that things very, very unusual were happening.
Let me ask you,
but if you, now, what were the things that I didn't deny here again specifically? It's a classification called Umbra Ultra, which some people say is a cosmic clearance. I have always, it's a keystone document or a keystone activity with an ultra umbra clearance, which means there's not so many levels above Q. I only was aware of 7 levels above Q, and I was given, as time passed, access more and more to what I had already had experience, and that is contact with ETI and their technology. The bioluminescence project, you refer to plants. That's for bioluminescence. And we found that the so-called living conveyances that, you know, the films from Mexico and many of these things have shown that these conveyances can split into 1 piece, into 2, into 3, into 4, and then reform. It's a living conveyance. It's organic material.
now is it?
And that's why I was brought in on bioluminescence and botany, because there is, and also salicylates, silica. As a matter of fact, I call computers my silicone soulmates, because silicone is a basis of life elsewhere.
Where did you get such a background in botany and chemistry?
Ding, ding, ding. I did study a lot more botany in pre-med, a lot more chemistry, organic chemistry specifically, in preparation for the work I had to do. Now, I do have some qualms about how aliens have been treated, and I will voice them as long as I live, which I don't expect to be. You know, you found out things that I would never have said, and I don't know how you found out, but I have to congratulate you that your sources are they're very inside.
What can you expound on what you were doing between June '72 and June of '77?
You already know.
Well, can you expound on that to the people watching this?
Not well, as someone, a friend of yours, who told me that that period was very profound for me. Yes, it was. It was profound in that I learned more than my team members. As team leader, I learned a lot more than I could tell them.
What type of things did you learn? Can you talk about that at all?
Well, generally, you have it more specific than I did, than I'm willing to talk about. You might as well fill in the blanks, because you have much, much more that page.
Do you think some of the experiences could have been erased from your memory on your debriefing from the government?
I worked on memory capping and mind control and MK Ultra, which, by the way, was never discontinued. Remote viewing. I have a friend who is a scientist who had something very, very important to do with remote viewing. And of course, the whole business of parapsychology comes into here now. That if people can view the contents of a safe from thousands of miles away, then the brain, well, that's going back to the gateway treatment that I talk about in my book, that we use no more than 10% of the neuronic and, I should say moronic, because we have billions of neurons and potentially billions of new synapses, plural, that could be formed.